Hi everyone, Alex Tardy here with the National Weather Service office out of San Diego. Wanted to provide you with a weather update this week as we anticipate another heat wave coming in to Southern California, and this one could last much longer than 4th of July weekend. Let's look at some of the details. So, starting next week on Monday and continuing to next weekend, it looks like excessive heat for Southern California. This includes the deserts, the mountains, and the inland valleys. And it even should be hotter than what we've seen so far for coastal areas. So after a very slow start to this summer, a lot of marine air, May gray, June gloom, cloudy days, hot temperatures look like they are returning, and this should be a prolonged heat wave. Check out the latest forecast at weather.gov San Diego. That's where you'll find heat risk and other information about the upcoming heat wave. All right, let's look back at some of the temperatures we just experienced. This is July 2nd, maximum temperatures across Southern California. Our desert areas reached over 115. Inland Empire area had many locations over the century mark or 100. That continued into July 3rd and even a little bit into July 4th, though that was a cooler day. The temperatures peaked out at 117 on July 3rd at Palm Springs. But our inland areas, like the Inland Empire, Riverside, and the Elsinore Convergence area, notice that area, which gets the hottest, between winds coming from the north meeting up with winds from the south, many locations were over 100 degrees from Lake Elsinore through Paris up until Hemet and San Jacinto. Now, what has this done? Well, this recent warm weather and the high-angled sun this time of year has really dried out the fuel moisture. As shown here, the left-hand side, in our mountain areas in particular, fuel moistures have rapidly dropped from elevated high levels to average and even below average for our final fuels. Those are the fuels like the smaller brush and grasses, the fuels that have died. They have now dropped below average or drier than they should be, as shown here on the right-hand side. You can see the record level or record low level for fuel moisture is in the red. Now our live fuel moistures have also cured out, and they are rapidly dropping as well. So the outlook coming up for middle of July calls for not the monsoon, but dry, hot conditions across the west, in particular the southwest, from Texas continuing into Southern California as shown here. What's causing this? So the weather pattern of the jet stream, the same jet stream that has caused cooler than normal conditions and more May gray, June gloom, that's finally retreated to the north. Right now it's cutting through far northern California, the Pacific Northwest. And what's going to take over in its place, and it's going to allow it to take over with massive heating over the desert floor, upper level high pressure, or a new weather pattern expanding from western Texas into Southern California, starting as early as Monday and noticeably warmer as the weather pattern sets up on Tuesday and Wednesday. Now we'll see a slight shift next week, end of the week, and then it just rebounds even more for next weekend. Dominant upper level high pressure or a heat dome, that's what causes our heat waves. These really hot air masses block the jet stream. The heat continues from the ground and up, and the cycle just gets into what we call an extended heat wave. Now, the monsoonal flow that we typically see around this upper level high pressure will start to develop, but because it's centered right over Arizona and Southern California, that prevents that tropical moisture from making it into Southern California, at least for now. The heat risk will be high. So starting next Tuesday, we see a rapid buildup of the heat risk and those orange and red areas where temperatures are much above average and become an issue with health. So we see that heat health impact increasing in the orange and red area starting as early as Tuesday. When we go further into the week, and on Wednesday, middle of the week, we see that orange expands almost all the way to the coast and covering the valleys. So that means temperatures much above normals for this time of year. And then we see red develop across the deserts as shown here. That means it's dangerous and significant to everyone, pets, humans, anyone doing outdoor activity for recreation or work. Precautions are needed with these type of temperatures in the orange and red. What kind of temperatures are we talking about? So for next week on Wednesday, I show one map here, which is talking and showing temperatures 115 to 120 in our lower deserts, up around 105 to even a little bit hotter in our high deserts. Temperatures widespread over 100 in the Inland Empire, and even getting into the 90s for our inland valleys of Orange and San Diego County. So we are talking about hot temperatures and above average. The low temperatures are going to be a factor as well as we get further into this heat wave, and that's especially for the deserts where each night low temperatures will be even warmer. Now this does not make the daytime temperature hotter, but it makes the recovery period more difficult. So we have to run AC all night. We start off the morning really warm temperatures, even though the air is dry. So low temperatures become increasingly important, especially in our deserts as we go into this heat wave next week. We're also looking at the potential for some records. I picked the day, Wednesday next week. And right now, the forecast temperatures are not exceeding records for Wednesday. It's still several days out. And really, our main heat wave could be the following weekend. So the 15th, 16th, and 17th of July could be our hottest period where we end up breaking records. Just a reminder, and this is in history with weather, looking back this day in history, we had an extreme heat day across Southern California back July 6, 2018. No marine layer, no sea breeze, a little bit of offshore flow, and then a massive warm dome of hot air, a lot like what's setting up next week, resulted in temperatures that were 119 at Palm Springs, but what was unusual was it made it all the way to the valleys and near the coast. Ramona 117, Santa Ana 114. So these are the type of heat waves we've seen in the past. These ones are extreme when you completely lose the marine layer onshore flow. Hopefully that doesn't happen next weekend and next week, but keep in mind temperatures at this level are certainly expected for our desert areas, and temperatures well over 100 for our inland valley areas such as the Inland Empire with this upcoming heat wave. So now's the time to prepare, plan, and adjust accordingly next week into next weekend with the hot temperatures right around the corner. Stay safe, everyone.